Think we're live and direct. If my kids watch this in the future, I love you. I love you. You're my world. All right, we got to be live now, right? Should presidents be able to be a brand? It's weird. You'd think Ronald Reagan would have had a jelly bean licensing deal. But as far as I know, you can't buy Ronald Reagan jelly beans. And if you're too young to understand that, Ronald Reagan loved jelly beans, that weird freak. Who loves jelly beans? I mean, I guess they're okay at Easter. And why did they become an Easter thing? Honestly, I don't even like them at Easter. The only time I like jelly beans is if, Jelly Belly? If they make some weird, freakish flavors. Although I will say the Jelly Belly popcorn jelly bean, oddly like popcorn. So if you're looking for popcorn, but you want it in a jelly bean form, there's your jelly bean. Welcome, welcome. I'm Rob. This is a news commentary. Newsmentary. I branded it that. Every time I do this, just so you know, I imagine the more you know. Remember that? Remember TVs used to have public service announcements? They would want you to know shit. This country used to want people to know things. So much so that they used to have commercials that would teach you something and say the more you know. Like that was a good thing, to know things in this world. Where are those? Long gone are the days. Now it's like the less you know. In fact, I had a t-shirt that I made. Patent pending copyright licensing deal, whatever you got to yell out. But I made a design that said the less you know, and it had a little backwards star. Can a star be backwards? I don't know. Is it ever forwards? But yeah, I think that's what should be the ads running now, the public service announcements. The less you know. Believe everything on the internet. The less you know. So when I say newsmentary, a genre that I've developed, and it's still in the works, we're working out the kinks. We're tweaking it. But that's what this is. This live stream goes 5 days a week. I'm Rob. I host it, and you are in the comments, in the chat, and you discuss with me because that's what this is. This is all a open-ended conversation. Like today, do you think presidents should be a brand? Do you think people seeking the presidency should be getting rich or richer off their likeness, their name? Because that's what's happening. I don't see a lot of Kamala Harris or Tim Waltz Doritos branding. But Trump, yeah, that guy, exhausting. Not only did he bankrupt, hey, what's up, Kathy? Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see my friends up in the chat. Kathy, do you think presidents or anyone running for public office, remember, you don't hear this often, but it used to be called public service. You were running for office to serve the public, to represent the people that put you there. That's the exchange. You would get their votes, and you would use your power and your authority for their votes. Yeah, F no. Well, today, Trump launched Trump watches. And they say Trump didn't do it. There's some company out of Wyoming that's making the watches. And even though they're saying, again, articles down below, I highly suggest you read all three that I linked about Trump. There's one about the Verizon outage. If anyone has Verizon, yesterday you might have just been in SOS mode, which is weird. My wife was in SOS mode. I was not. Very suspect. These things are not coincidences. Put on your tinfoil hats, kids, because I got some thoughts. But I linked that story down below. If you're not part of Verizon, this happened to T-Mobile. And hey, what's up, Heavenly Star Halam? Good to see you. Now let me ask you, we're talking about should people who running for public office, public servants, people running for president, be able to be a brand? I want people to disassociate and divorce themselves from the allegiances they've pledged to the red and blue. I am purple. I am fucking so far. Actually, I was Green Party for a long time when I first registered to vote in the 90s. My first time registering to vote, Green Party. Now it's like the Green Rainbow Party, or I don't know. I'm just independent now, which I wish you could put like anarchist or fuck the system, something like that, if you could write in. Hell no, Heavenly Star. Okay, thank you. Everybody seemed to quick to answer. Which is good because that's the right answer. There is a right and wrong in this answer. Not all of these are discussions. I'm sorry I said that at the beginning. Please hit subscribe and the notification bell. But it's okay to be wrong, and there is a wrong answer, this being one of them. Now, I kept digging. After I found out Trump launched watches, he launched fucking watches. And you're never going to believe this. He's selling one of his watches, which is comparative to a Rolex Submariner. Sorry, I said that with like a little bit of a Boston accent. Kathy appreciated that. A Submariner. Some things we put a hard ER on, and some things we put a hard AH on. So I apologize for the Submariner. Submarina. I don't know how to pronounce it. Now I'm in my own head. But his watch that is on par with the Rolex, Vice or somebody did a breakdown. Again, link in the description if you want to read the article, which I highly suggest you do. And they said the comparative model, which Rolex obviously is like, I don't know if they make them in Switzerland or whatever, but they're obviously high quality. There's bezels and all this shit that make the watch valuable, right? It's like a timepiece. That's why they call it a timepiece, not a watch, a timepiece, whatever. I'm not a watch guy. And if you're a watch person, please jump up in the comments. I am not. I know there's sneakerheads, there's watch people or timepiece people. What do you call them? I don't know. But this watch that he's selling, that's on par with the Rolex, he's selling for $100,000. And I keep saying him, but here's how it works, because he officially can't sell it. So what Trump does is he licenses his name and his likeness, aka his brand. Trump licenses his brand to not only coffee, hotels, he's got an I-Series mattress. Again, link in the description. There are a ton of things that he's licensed his name to. Whether it been, and if you're from the 80s and 90s, you know there were steaks, water bottles, airlines, hotels, casinos, all these things that no longer exist, by the way. And if you're younger and you've just been witnessing it in real time, there's been the Trump Bible, the Trump plate, I think. There's probably a Trump ear bandage at this point. There's the Trump NFT. It's everything that every YouTuber scam artist or every YouTube ad. If you watch YouTube a lot, you see the ads and you see these kids jump on. RIP Joe Rogan. Yeah, fuck Joe Rogan. I don't know if he really passed away. If so, then blessings to... Oh, I don't think he passed away, though, but I don't like Joe Rogan. And welcome, Just Chill. Like the name. And what is that, a frosty globe next to your name? I like that. But Trump licenses his brand. And if you're newer to Trump, if you don't know about his casinos, water, steaks, airline, hotel, all these things have failed, and you just recently noticing that he's selling NFTs and shit that if you're on YouTube, like I was saying, if you're on YouTube a lot, you see these ads pop up with this like 14-year-old kid who's trying to pull off being 25, sitting in front of a rented Lamborghini being like, Amazon throw to sell is DTF is not how you're going to make millions. If you want to make $10,000 in passive cash every day, watch this video. I have a class, link down below, first seminar free. Those motherfuckers, which I want to record all those videos and just make a video on those punk ass kids that are spending money to try and trick you into believing these 13-year-olds living at their parents' house with their wealthy parents figured out how to drop ship and they made like $1,000, so they tweak all the numbers and try to sell it as a class to you. I fucking hate those people. But that's what this presidential candidate is in the business world. He will sell his licensing, and again, link down below, link in the description, folks, because you can see the Washington Post, and this was back in 2017 they did this expose. 2017, they talked about how many millions of dollars he was bringing in from licensing, like just 1 to 5 million in licensing for his clothing brand. And it's really phenomenal how much money he's getting just for saying, you want to use my face and my name? And on these watches, that's what he's doing. If you're just jumping in, we're talking about Donald Trump releasing a watch today, one for $100,000, which they said, that's what I was saying earlier, they said the Rolex equivalent is Donald Trump's watch is 3 times more expensive than the Rolex. And the watch expert said this would be like a $50, this should be like a $50 mall watch. The components, everything that he breaks down, like the parts of the watch that make it expensive, they said just don't even work. It's like not actual what they're saying it is. And what they're pointing out is all the people who are manufacturing these Trump watches are doing so like out of China. So they're claiming like Swiss parts and all this. But the funniest part is at the end of the article, right? If you go read this article, I linked it in the description. Of course, the Donald Trump watches are all sales final, no refunds. And also, if you go to the website to check them out, you'll notice they're not actual photos of the watches, folks. These are all things that will tip you off to a scam, okay? This isn't professional advice, but here's in my mind how I know it's a scam. If you go to a website and they go, these are just photo mock-ups, right? The actual product may look different. If it says shit like that and you can't find any reviews with actual photos of the product or nobody modeling the product, or if it's very generic 3D imaging, beware. But then if in the finer print, after it tells you these photos may not look like the product you're about to get, these are all digital renderings by an artist, be prepared. Because if in the smaller print it says all sales final, no refunds, just be ready to burn your money. If you'd like, just send it to me. And I could tell everybody that you got the greatest watch in the world, because that's what this is going to be like. And even though Trump licensing deal to this Wyoming company that's claiming their foreign watches are the best, even though they have a $100,000 watch, which who the fuck is buying that? Seriously, if you got $100,000 to spend on a Trump watch, my God, how did you get rich? Because that's the proof that rich people ain't all smart. That's the proof that some of them are morons. But they're only making 147 of these watches. And that's the other gimmick. When they put a number on it like that, they say, don't do 150, 147. We're only going to make 147, and they're $100,000 each. And it clearly states, like, none of this money goes to the Trump campaign, da, 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 da. But he's getting money from this. They're cutting a deal with him to use his signatures on the watches, which, listen, the older I get, the creepier it is that some grown man would throw away that much money on a timepiece. I'm going to call these watches. They're like Swatch watches, if you remember those. Or like a Fossil watch. They're like a nice Fossil watch. In the 90s, if you were in high school in the 90s, you had a Fossil watch. Those are pretty rad. But there are people that want to have a grown-ass man's signature on a timepiece on their wrist. And that's what these are. These are Donald Trump's signature. Literally, not signature as in like copyright TM, like his signature, his writing, his handwriting of his name is on the watches, which if that's not cheese and a half, it's so weird. The dude sold Bibles. I remember when he said 2 Corinthians, which if you've ever read the Bible, nobody in the history of the Bible has called it 2 Corinthians. It's 2 Corinthians. It's a second book. They're books within a book. I know that might be a difficult concept for him, or he just never read the Bible before, or never been near a Bible when he held it upside down. But I mean, these are telltale tip-offs. Yo, what's up, Solus? Solus, let me ask you, do you think presidential candidates or anyone running for public office should be able to make money off licensing their imaging, their brand? It's basically like a YouTuber, because that's what, you know, Mr. B, any big YouTuber who you see their name, face, image on something, they own. So when you're an entertainer, and especially like independent entertainer or a comic, your brand is you, you know, your likeness, your image, that's your intellectual property, your creation, but your brand is also like you. So you own all that. And when people, let's say Taylor Swift wanted to do a coffee, but she didn't want to get into the nitty gritty of, you know, fucking going and harvesting beans and starting a coffee farm. If Taylor Swift ever did something like this, she would license her image to people that she felt made the best coffee, right? Mr. Beast is doing this right now with what? I forget. He was just getting flack for it. Oh, with Lunchables. They're making goddamn Lunchables, and they're trying to sell it because it's his image, which some people will buy it. They're that fucking stupid. He's selling poison in a can, and people be like, Mr. Beast is on. It's got to be good. I mean, morons, complete morons. Separate those people from their money. I agree with that. But if Taylor Swift wanted to do it, she wouldn't go and start a coffee farm. You know, she would sell her image, her name. You would see her little scripted name. It'd be like the 1981 roast or 89, whatever the fuck it is. I'm a Swiftie, but that not that diehard. I don't know what happened to Joe Rogan. Solus, can you Google that? I can't Google anything right now. Just Chill just said, rip Joe Rogan. Maybe he took too much horse tranquilizer. What was it? Horse butt cream? I forget what that stuff was. The horse cream. They rubbed it on horses' butts to heal their hemorrhoids, and everybody was eating it or whatever. I don't remember. It was a bunch of years ago. But he was a big fan of that. Horse steroids? I don't know what it was. It was something. But yeah, Solus, would you mind checking on that? Because somebody just jumped in and said, rip Joe Rogan. I said, oh, well. Oh, well. That just saved some lives. Joe Rogan. And listen, maybe it's personal for me and Kathy, because if Kathy's still here, Joe Rogan's from Natick, Mass. And he's just one of them bullies from Natick. Like, we all knew them. We all knew those people. They weren't nice. And Joe Rogan's whole gimmick is, I don't know why people listen to me. I'm just a dumb goof. And it's like, no, you speak with authority, man, and you pretend like you know it all. But he says things that don't align with how he acts. And watch. And I'm saying this from fucking experience. Watch his interview with Bill Burr, the first one, where Bill Burr was like, where Joe Rogan's trying to give him a hard time about wearing a mask. And Bill Burr was like, I'm going to take advice from you, smoking a cigar, sitting in front of some American flag. I was like, that's who needs to handle Joe Rogan. All Joe Rogan's little minions that hang out with him are not massholes. They're all these LA middle of the country types that just want to leech off suckle on his TT. Put a real masshole in a room with Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan will shrivel to the little puppy he is. And that's what Bill Burr did to him. You just got to call him out. Kathy knows. Eating it. I don't know. Were they eating it? They're probably sucking on it, or, I don't know, rubbing it on their bald spots. You're always telling someone the crazy story in his podcast that they're lying, right, Solus? Solus, did you find out if anything happened to him? Or people just saying, rip Joe Rogan? That would just be a funny thing to start saying. But Joe is just one of them punks. He's just a bully. And if you watch any of his stuff pre-pandemic, pre-2021, or even when it was happening, he had a Minnesota, I forget what it was, like a guy who had studied infection. Wilco Roger that. What's up? Roger that. What's up, buddy? Good to see ya. We're talking about should people who run for public office divorce yourself from any candidate. I hate allegiances. Don't do that. Don't put yourself in the red or blue box. Talking about should people who run for what used to be called public service, you don't hear that term anymore, should they be able to be a brand? Should they be able to make a lot of money off being a brand, like a fucking YouTuber? Stinky Bunny. That's a funny ass name. Damn, with a serious comment. I love the name. Comment very serious. That's wild, man. I hate what's going on. So Wilco, Stinky Bunny, I don't know. I think someone's just trying to make others think something. Yeah, I didn't think so either. I would have got an alert on my phone or something. You know, Spotify would have sent a message out to everybody that has a phone. Our hero, Joe Rogan, passed away eating horse hemorrhoid cream today, sitting in a sauna, just like he would have wanted to go. People do that on the internet. Yeah, but let's be honest. If like the serious people who aren't comedians or who aren't like entertainers or jokers like me, are reeling themselves in when the politicians, the people who are supposed to be serious, because like I think Elon Musk has done shit like that for real. Not saying like joking, or he's not like a joker. And in an ice plunge sauna. An ice plunge, not a sauna. No, he does. Oh, so Stinky Bunny, let me. The horse dewormer in the ice bath. Joe Rogan passed away today at the age of 871. even though he looked a mint 52, eating horse dewormer in an ice bath as his final wishes. I can see, I wish Meat Canyon, Papa Meat, whatever he is, the YouTuber, would do a fucking cartoon of Joe Rogan just chugging horse dewormer in an ice bath. Gobble, 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 gobble. I wish I could do cartoons. I would do shit like that all the time. Yeah, I don't know. What were they drinking it? Were they drinking it like lean? That was Joe Rogan's lean horse dewormer. Like hip hop had a moment where everybody was sipping on lean. Some still are, but those are addicts. And like Joe Rogan's lean was horse dewormer. He's like, you mix it with a little Sprite. I like to have this when I'm having my ice bath. But the reason I said sauna, Stinky Bunny, is because in 2020, he interviewed this like virologist, this guy who studies infectious diseases, right? And Joe Rogan, because Joe Rogan has a sauna and goes in a sauna every day, he kept telling the dude, and like the dude was there to like inform people, right? And the guy had great information. In fact, I even put the interview on my website at one point because I was like, yo, this dude, this is good information. This needs to get out. And it was good that this is like, the epitome of like Joe Rogan being big right after his $100 million deal. And he was actually doing like a service. And then he took like a weird alt turn, just like Russell Brand. But Joe had this infectious disease doctor on, and he was like, I heard that if you go in the sauna, you won't catch anything. And this guy was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, because the sauna air is really hot, so it kills the diseases. And the guy was like, no, what are you talking about? And he was like, are you sure? Because I sauna. And the guy was like, like, what? No. And the interview still should be up on YouTube. I highly suggest anybody watch it. But that tells you everything you need to know about Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan really wants what he thinks to be real, ignoring any kind of like professional advice. Because the guy was like, or Joe Rogan kept being like, are you sure the sauna heat doesn't kill disease? And the guy was like, no, I've studied this my whole life. This is why you have me on to do an interview. He's like, it doesn't. Joe's like, but are you sure? We were like, we get it, Joe. You really wish like the sauna was your savior. If that was the case, like when I was in high school and you'd sneak into a hotel and use their sauna, everybody be doing that. Like, fuck, we'd just be like, let's just have climate change, like global warming, and then we'll be fine. No diseases. Like, Joe, you're a moron. Shut up and listen to the people you have on interview. Unless the sauna is 250 degrees and melts your skin off. But it was funny, and that's a real interview. That happened. And after that, I was like, oh, Joe really is stupid, but he plays the I'm just a stupid guy, but really wants to. He's like Jordan Peterson. Like, Jordan Peterson's an idiot. If you listen to the stuff he actually says and not listen to him like in a worshiping fucking church like most people do, and you just listen to some of the stuff he says and then look it up, because we all have this thing called Google, which my kids will still ask me stuff, and I'll be like, why are you asking me that? Like, ask, Google, go on to DuckDuckGo, use Chat GPT, like, look stuff up. I don't know how fast light travels to your eye. Jesus, what do you think I am? I'm just your dad. I teach you about like certain things, but not like science and math. Good God, use a calculator. But I always tell them, like, if we wanted to know something, it had to be printed in the last Encyclopedia Britannica. And if you didn't have an encyclopedia, you were taking your ass to the library. Okay? I like Joe Rogan, but he's just really good at asking. I will say this, Roger that. He's very good at asking questions. Listen, I do not like him as a person. I think he's poisonous, and I think he's a bully. And I think his playing dumb, I'm just a guy who, no one should listen to me, but really he speaks with authority and he wants everyone to listen to him. So I think that is a dangerous, poisonous trait. And I only say that because I know people like that in Massachusetts. We have those cats here. He's from Massachusetts. He's from Natick, Mass. I know people just like him. Like, there's like a few different personality types in Massachusetts that once you know one of them, you know them all. They have one in every town. But I will say this, I'll give credit. And again, it's with no ill intent. If he changed tomorrow and not like Russell Brand changed, like changed genuinely, I would love it. But he's just not funny, and he's dangerous with that. Like, oh, I don't know why anyone listens to me. Well, Joe, if that's true, then fucking stop, pumping out these crazy theories that have been disproven to your face on your show. But again, people have room to change, but he is very talented in asking questions. Roger that. Absolutely super, super talented. Like, there's no denying that dude, I don't know if the 100 million was commensurate with his experience and skill, but I will say this, like, he was asking questions like nobody else. Very unique. He's way better at asking questions than he is his comedy. Yeah. So wow, we went way off. Look at that. Who threw that wrench into the Just Chill said rip Joe Rogan, and we went down the Joe Rogan earthworm dewormer, whatever it is, donkey dewormer rabbit hole. Jesus. Plus, you got to remember, Joe's like rich guy crazy, you know? Like every rich guy, like he don't know reality. He lives in a bubble. His little comedy store that he has is a bubble. His little podcast, what are those things? Compound, you know, cult compound, is a bubble. So he like hears shit and doesn't interact with like normal people. Like you and I, we drive in traffic, we wait behind people at line. Like that dude doesn't do any of that. So he lives in weird wealthy land bubble. Same with Elon. And so, I mean, if you just look at some of their stuff with just common sense, you can tell. You're like, oh man, that's so sad. Like he doesn't know what the world is like. He's a fucking boy in a bubble. Let me say this too. Let me take a quick break to say this is my live stream. I go live 5 days a week. It's newsmentary. Copyright patent pending. Newsmentary. Unless YouTube, you want to use that as a genre. I know you have news up there. Live stream, do newsmentary. Come on, YouTube, do a newsmentary, because a lot of people do news commentary, not as good as me, but there's people out there doing it, like Philly DeFranco, who's got 7 million subs. Come on, we got to get my sub rate up. We got to get to 7 million, folks, and I can't do it without you. And I love Stinky Bunny, Roger That, Soulless, everybody up in the comments, Kathy, who else? Just Chill through, Heavenly Star Halam, love them all. Love the conversations, love the dialogue. And what we started talking about is Donald Trump releasing watches. Now, he's not making them. He's not tinkering with those tiny hands of his, but he licensed his brand, his signature, his likeness, his imaging, all to a company so he could get a cut. He's probably making $1 million off that. How about the shoreman strike? Oh, Roger that. I was just reading about that today. From New England to Texas, they all went on strike. Amazing. And I haven't followed up with the Boeing strike. I don't know if anybody's followed up with the Boeing strike, but I know Boeing went from a 20% raise to 25% to 30% raise, and they said final offer, and the strike people were like, we're on strike. Okay, final offer, but we're on strike. And I know the strikers are looking for like a 40% raise, like a $6,000 ratification bonus, a lot of things. So if you're not unionized, if you don't know what we're talking about, union is a group of employees, a group of workers who get together to have more power than if you would individually, which is just, you know, just common sense. You have more power together, power to the people. And the other thing is Soulless. We should I have a link in the Discord. A link to the Discord in the description. I just started an organizing thread on there. So if you want to join up, if you want to learn more about organizing, please join the Discord. But yeah, the shoreman strike. We'll follow up with that tomorrow because I only read one article. I didn't dive deep into it, but I'm going to read more about it today. So solidarity with any shoreman on strike. The other thing I always like to mention when I talk about unions organizing and strikes is if you're going to donate, if you're going to tithe or whatever, please send it to a strike fund. When these people go on strike, they're doing it as a last resort to get the company's attention and to get their demands met. And that's what workers need. We need better pay, better conditions, better vacations, better paid time off, better sick time, better leaves, better everything. And that's what unions fight for you and I. And even including, 100 years ago, unions were fighting to not work 7 days a week. And hence we got the weekend. People died for this, man. Workers died for this, for our rights as workers. And when they go on strike, they're not making money. So they usually have strike funds where people can donate, where the company and the union puts money away for when a strike happens. And that's how people still can pay rent, eat, all that stuff. So if you get a moment, please donate to a strike fund. Find one near you. Find a local company or a local union that has a strike fund, or the Shoremen's Union, because it makes a world of difference. Remember, these people are workers just like you and I. They got kids, families, and even if they don't, they got bills to pay. So it's really huge. If you could donate to the Shoreman Strike Fund, the Boeing, I think they're the International Machinists Union. Again, easily Googleable. Just like I tell my kids, like, you can Google that shit. I ain't your dictionary. I ain't your encyclopedia. I do know some things. God damn. Are we lucky we got the internet? So roger that. Shoreman strike. All right, guys. I'm gonna wrap this up, Stinky Bunny. I love that you were like, it was horse dewormer. I was calling it a horse steroid cream. I don't know. Was it hemorrhoid cream? Nobody can be really sure. I'm just a goofy newsmentary live streamer. Don't listen to me. Everything's said in jest. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Please join the Discord, link down in the description. Please read about the licensing deals. I think overwhelmingly, divorce yourself from your candidate, from your party, because you're a human. You don't fit in a box. You're not red or blue. You're some fucking weird shade of melatonin. But people running for public service should not be licensing their likeness to get richer. They just shouldn't be. I think we can all agree to that. Salute to you, roger that. All right, guys, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I will be back live tomorrow and Thursday and Friday. So I love having the conversation. I love you guys up in the chat. Thank you so much for joining. And hey, to everybody who has helped me get over 1,500 subs, thank you. I didn't think I'd see this day. It's awesome. I'm really grateful, and I'm trying to work on some recorded content. It's just very difficult, but I want to do some more recorded videos. But until then, hit the notification bell. I want you guys back here tomorrow, and we'll discuss more. And I'll have those Trump shoes. Get the fuck out of here, roger that. You would not buy those Trump shoes, those gold ones. Yo, roger that. So we got to make a note of this. If I start making enough money on YouTube, see, this is why I want to make money on YouTube. If I start making money on YouTube, Wilco, roger that. I'm buying those shoes. I'm selling. And I'm sending them to you. And I want a video of you wearing them to work. I want a video of you wearing them. All right. This is the stupid shit. Mr. Beast claims he spends all his money he makes on YouTube. I really will, because I'm making people good on their word. I'm buying roger that. Wilco, roger that. I'm buying you them Trump shoes. I want video. I'll come and meet you. We'll do a live stream where you have to wear those shoes out and about, telling people, yo, these are the new Trump ones, the Trump Force ones. Oh, I can't. So in that note, everybody better subscribe and hit the notification bell if you want to see roger that, me buying roger that. What do they call them? The Trump Force ones? No, do they make them steel toe? Yo, if they do, I would even think about that. Because I've seen one pair of steel toe shoes and I wanted them so bad. You need steel toe. Oh, Wilco roger that works in the tough industry. You know that. So he needs a steel toe. You know what? Fuck it. I make enough money, roger that. I'll buy them and I'll steel toe them myself. I'll custom steel toe them for you. And you wear them to work. Oh, I can't wait to make some money on YouTube, because we're doing that. But the only deal is you gotta send me a video. We gotta do a video of it, all right? All right, guys. That's awesome. Oh, that would be good content. That is great content. See, Mr. Beast missed the marks because he's unoriginal. That's why Mr. Beast sucks. He just sees what other people does, and he's like, I'll do it bigger. It's like, yo, that's the original shit. I'm buying Wilco roger that, the Trump shoes. We're going to steel toe them so we can wear them on the job site, and we're going to film it and make a video. That is so funny. Oh, thank you for the idea, roger that. Solus, let's make a note of it. All right, guys.